Want help to grow your business? Download Bryn, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit bryn.ai or search the App Store today.
Hey guys, Sam Cawthorn here, and welcome to the series Industry Authority. This is the fourth episode here, and I'm super pumped about this episode, mainly because it's the last of the first part of our curriculum, which is all on positioning. As an industry authority, as you would understand, in order for your message to be heard, whether it's a product, whether it's a system, whether it's a message, in order for your message to be heard, you must stand out from the noise, which means we must learn how to position ourselves in this saturated market. And you know something? There's a lot of changes that are happening right now. There's more noise today than any other time in history in your same industry space. And so in order for you to be an industry authority, we must learn to stand out from the noise. And so over the last few episodes, we've actually been really uncovering what does it look like for you to stand out? How can you position yourself as an expert, as a thought leader, as an authority? What do you need to do to disrupt your marketplace so you are standing out, so you are charging the big amount of fees and people are following you? So we've learned about an avatar, we've learned about your ideal customer, your ideal client, we've learned about exactly how to get your message out, we'll learn how to stand out from the market. And so in this episode here, we are now going to teach you how to understand your own unique value proposition through easy market research. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what is the future of this whole area of personal development. What is the future of becoming an industry authority? And what does this look like? And what do you need to do to start capturing the attention of these people in the future, particularly over the next 3 years, as we are seeing unprecedented change in this whole area of personal development. So guys, super excited, super pumped about this. I would also suggest you get a pen and paper, because research will tell me that in exactly 2 weeks' time, less than 50% of you will remember more than 2 things from today's series, from today's episodes, unless you write some of this down. So make sure you write it all down, but also I'll give you a link at the end where you can see a little bit more information about this as well. So after positioning, after this video, the next episode we're actually then going to be starting to teach you how to master the platform. So it's all about what is your platform of your message, of your product, of your services. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and how can you master communication for influence on the platform, whether it's on video or whether it's actually, literally getting speaking engagements. And the third part of this whole entire series here is all about packaging, how to package your content and your intellectual property and your IP in a way that your message is being heard nationally and internationally, commercially, while you sleep. So I'm super excited about that particular part of this series. So the first part is I want to now get you to understand a little bit more about the market, particularly when it does come to you being an industry authority and looking at getting these speaking opportunities and these speaking engagements and so on and so forth out there in the marketplace. So what are some of the changes that we're seeing at the moment? The first one here is the economic factor. At the moment, we are facing unprecedented change, as I was saying before, in our economy around the world. Whatever market, whatever economy, whatever industry, we are facing unprecedented change. And with this change here, it is hard to keep ahead of the curve. It is hard to be proactive with really understanding. So I'm going to disrupt your thinking here. I believe we now need to be reactive. Now, let me explain to you what I mean by reactive. When it does come to the economy, when it does come to all the changes that are happening, one thing that I have found is if I do my research online, if I actually look at news and articles and so on and so forth, and me then acting or reacting upon those news paper articles and all the current news and the current affair stories that are coming out, that is when I start seeing the opportunities. Because it is very hard to predict the future. It's very hard to predict exactly where the economy is going. However, if you're at the forefront of news and current affair within your same industry sector, and then you create your program, your services, your products around that, and then you release that into the market in the shortest period of time, they are the people that are winning at this game. So they're not the people that are proactive. They're the people that are more reactive, but are reactive in the fastest possible turnaround. So economic factors will be playing a huge part in the next 3 years, specifically when it does come to getting your message out there into the marketplace, whether it's a product, a service, or really delivering that out there. So it's understanding the current economic factors and really grabbing a hold of that. You know, I remember back when I was really starting to launch my speaker business really well, and it was around the 2007-2008 financial downturn, you know, the global financial crisis. And my message was all around, you know, bouncing forward, overcoming adversity, resilience, positive psychology, that type of stuff. And so one of the particular markets that I went after, which was finance. And so I realized that a lot of the insurance finance salespeople, they're actually losing out on a lot of business. And there was two main factors for that. One main factor was the difference of consumer behavior. They weren't spending a lot of money on financial advice or on insurance or anything like that, mainly because of tough economic times. And then the second thing was FOFA, which is the Australian government financial board review. They were doing all these changes to compliance and legislation, and the financial advisors couldn't quite keep up with that. And so I then put two and two together. I looked at the consumer behavior, and then I also looked at the changes that are happening within the compliance and legislation, etc. And then I created a whole video program really addressing this, and I released it in the market in the shortest period of time as soon as I found out all the changes that are happening. And before you know it, the phone started to call. And people were saying, hey, Sam, I loved your stuff. Can you come out and speak? Hey, Sam, this is exactly what we need. What do we need to do to engage you? Hey, Sam, this is exactly what our financial advisors need. Do you have a product? Do you have a system? Do you have services, or whatever that might be? And so I was very reactive in that particular industry. And even though I had no experience at all in finance, and I don't hold any degree or anything at all about finance, but what I did, I understood the current economic climate. I was at the forefront of releasing something there into the world, and then and only then did I actually start seeing the opportunity. Right now, in the online world, in your space, is an amazing window of time. And if we don't start really capturing the essence of this window of time and giving value online in your own area of expertise, you'll find that the market will just simply get more and more and more saturated. So in order to stand out, we must understand the economic times and being reactive, but then being at the forefront of being proactive on that reactive, sort of economy, so if that makes sense. So the first change that I would suggest for you to do is the economic factors. The next one is this, is the influence of TED. Now, in the personal development space, which I've been in now for over 10 years, there has been a huge influence of TED over the last few years. And one of the main influences is this 18-minute talk. As you're getting your message out there in the marketplace, you will be asked to do a live speaking engagement, so on and so forth. And back in the day, 10, 20 years ago, people were asking you to do a 1-hour keynote, 90-minute keynote, a 2-hour workshop, and so on and so forth. And nowadays, attention spans are a lot shorter than any other time in history. So it's now no longer good enough for you to, just have a 1 hour, half an hour, 2-hour workshop, etc. People want short, people want sharp, people want directly through to the point. They don't have time. I read somewhere that the average attention span for people 30 years ago was around 27 minutes. Today, it is 9 seconds, which is just unreal. So my encouragement to you is, what do you need to do to get more precise, to get more clarity, more articulation in your conversation, so you get straight to the point in the shortest period of time? So people are actually willing to say, okay, look, maybe I will buy this product, these services, etc. As a keynote speaker, I've found that my 1 hour keynote presentations are now actually coming down to more like 45 minutes, half an hour, or even an 18-minute talk. There has been a huge influence of TED that has come through, particularly when it does come to communicating knowledge and communicating ideas. They don't want a 2-hour presentation. They don't even want an hour presentation nowadays. They want short, sharp, sweet, straight to the point in 18 minutes, which is exactly the TED style. So this is where I would totally suggest for you to do that. If you have a whole heap of information that you've got that you really want to, refine and define that, I would suggest, and this is how a professional speaker works, right? I would have about 10, 20, 30 stories. And each one of these 10, 20, 30 stories, I'd have a 20-minute version, I'd have a 12-minute version, I'd have a 7-minute version. And now a lot of them, I have a 3-minute version and a 1-minute version for exactly the same stories. Why? Because stories are the key ingredient to the sales cycle and also in communication dialogue as well. But also in general, I need to make sure that I can still communicate and get my message across in the shortest period of time. So the changes that you will see in your marketplace right now is the consumer behavior are demanding with their time, which means when it does come to pitching a product, a service, a message, a keynote presentation, whatever that might be, you've got to communicate it in a shorter and more precise way. The last episode, I spoke a lot about specifically your pitch and how you can really communicate your pitch in like a 20-second elevator pitch. Have a look at that episode because it'll give you a little bit more of an idea of exactly some of the things that we do cover in that pitch. So make sure you have a look at that. Yeah, cool, awesome. So the other thing, so that is the influence of TED. Let's move to the next one, is the types of speakers. Now, nowadays, as you become an industry authority, yes, you will be asked to speak. And nowadays, we no longer just want speakers all on content. Nowadays, we don't want speakers just all about inspiration, because that's how it's pretty much so has been in the past. We get an inspirational speaker to fill that slot, and we get a content speaker to fit that slot. Nowadays, there is convergence of both. And we now want the people that have actually got an inspirational speaker to have some content with it. We now want the content speakers to have some inspirational with it as well. So
to continue enjoying this presentation, download Bryn, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit bryn.ai or search the App Store today.